So how can the Yankees, like, right this ship, right? How can they fix things? Because they're reeling right now. And I'm not waving the white flag because they're still pretty much like 10 games up in the division. I think there's a good chance that they win the division. But that said, going into the postseason with some momentum would be a damn good thing for this team. Now, there's several things I think they could do. And I want to know what you think, too. You know, give me your feedback in the comments. Several things I think they can do and likely would be well off to do to put themselves on better footing, to you know, get back to the Yankees that were playing really well in the first half of the season. So, I'm going to get into them right now. And by the way, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. It's greatly appreciated. But I don't want you to miss out on other stuff, any moves that they make and other things that happen throughout the season, especially as we get closer to the playoffs. So, just because the trade deadline's over doesn't mean the moves can't be made. So let's get into it. So the bullpen is first. To me, obviously the bullpen's kind of reeling. The bullpen's a little bit gassed too. So, and you know, it's been to the point now where they've even overused some of the new guys recently, Ephraim and Trevino and stuff. And so I think they have to decide who's going to be the bullpen guys. I mean, they got to decide if Chapman's going to be in there. At this point, he's pitching well. He's kind of got more confidence in his fastball. So, you know, why not have him in there? So, Chapman, but he's got to continue to play well. So, Chapman, postseason rest, but I wouldn't have him as a closer. Obviously, we got to figure out Clay Holmes. He's got to get him back on track. Okay, and I'm pretty confident that he will. You know, relievers go through lulls, and Yankee relievers especially go through lulls. So, Mariano Rivera went through lulls. So, those two guys, obviously, you know, the two new guys. Johnny Loizaga needs to get back on track. Chapman, like I said, has got to get back on track, you know, and we need, you know, to decide whether Ron Marinaccio and Clark Schmidt's going to be here as well in this postseason roster. To me, I think they should. So, figuring out the postseason, you know, or figuring out the bullpen and doing it in a way so you're not overusing guys or gassing guys, and then when they're down, overusing other guys. So there's got to be some kind of consistent pattern bullpen usage, which I think will be really, really helpful. Secondly, the starting pitching. I mean, we need Cole and Montez to formulate a serious 1-2 at the top. And then maybe Nestor Cortez and whether it's Jameson Taillon or whoever it is as a 3-4. But we need the serious 1-2 at the top. We need Cole to pitch like Cole. And I'm confident Montez will pitch like Montez. I mean, he hadn't pitched in over a week, coming off a death of the family. So he was completely out of whack and completely out of rhythm. So I'm not really worried about him either. He'll be fine. We have a frontline guy now to go. Cole. And I think he'll push Cole. So, which I think Cole needs. And we got to figure out the home run problem as well for Cole, too. So making sure these guys can be the 1-2 that we need is obviously a clear, important thing, too. You know, now, to the offense, and I think it all boils down to a couple things. But most importantly to me is figuring out a damn batting order, okay? And being consistent with it. We can't have, you know, Benintendi batting first one day and then seventh the next day. Like, there's got to be some kind of consistency because they're going to continue to change their hitting approach when they be moving up and down in the lineup. And it's really, really hard to put this thing together when they're kind of all over the place. And it's been all year now. Now they've got, I mean, once Harrison Bader comes in here, and if they call up some young kids, I mean, obviously they'll make some changes to the lineup. But, like, right now, why are we not leading off Benintendi and batting DJ second and then Judge third? You know? And obviously we need our guys back. We need Rizzo back. And we need Stanton back. So the lineup's not going to be complete anyway until they're back. But, like, those two at the top, Judge third, Rizzo fourth, Stanton fifth. Like, to me, that's a no-brainer 1 through 5. And then the other pieces we put together. Right? Whether you're sitting Hicks and playing a young kid or whatever it is. Or whether Harrison Bader's in here. And whatnot. But that's, to me, it should be a consistent 1 through 5. I don't see why it shouldn't be. So, and then we have our contact hitters, our guys with on base percentage, our RBI guys right there in the middle of the lineup to drive in some of the speed guys. Like, and if you have a speed guy like Benintendi at the top, who's actually starting to kind of find himself a little bit, like he did in St. Louis, he got a couple more hits, so I think he'll be okay too. And you get him on the base somewhat regularly, and then you have DJs having a kind of a quietly efficient year to kind of drive him in or move him over, and then you have the guys behind him. So, because we can't be batting Gleyber Torres fourth. He's not a cleanup hitter. Okay? And every time he tries to become a home run hitter, he winds up striking out, listening out, and like doing all the things that he shouldn't be doing. So, I mean, I'd rather him try to hit 15 home runs every inning, be between 15 and 20, and have a bunch of singles and doubles. So, figuring out a lineup order is absolutely critical. And then once we get the pieces in there, if Bader's in there, we can maximize the defensive prowess in the outfield, too. Like, you know, whether it's Bader in center, Benintendi in left, and you can alternate Judge and Stanton in right field between right field and DH. I mean, there's ways we can do this. And if Hicks needs to be sat, he needs to be sat. He's not being very productive anyway. And one hit yesterday doesn't really do much. Just like Gleyber Torres. A couple hits yesterday doesn't really change things. He's been terrible with runners in scoring position and doing all the things that he is not helping him. So I don't care if his slugging is higher than IKF. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So figuring out the batting order, I think, is the key. Or a key for the offense. And it's got to be consistent again. Putting the right guys in the right defensive positions. It's all kind of meshed into one piece. And then complement that with a consistent, figuring out, righting the ship in the rotation, and then righting the ship in the bullpen, and maybe seeing some more fire and energy out of the coaches, too. And how about Hal Steinbrenner show his face once in a while? Show his fans that he's actually interested in his own team. You know, I don't see the problem in that. Why is he not doing it? Maybe treat your team like you care. Maybe the play, it'll help the players too. It'll help the players know that you're interested in them playing well and their well-being, and you want your product to be a good product. Just a thought, Hal, but those are the things, kind of the most glaring things I see. I mean, right in the bullpen because it's gassed, figuring out a consistent flow there. And again, I understand there's new guys here, roster construction, so there's going to take a while for new players to mesh. That's a part of it too. But I think establishing that 1-2 at the top is very, very important with Cole and Montez. Okay? And then figuring out the rest of the pieces in the bullpen. Because we have to line it up now. We're less than 2 months away from postseason. So we got to figure out at some point what the playoff rotation is going to look like if they're in the rotation. If they're in the playoffs. Right? We got to figure out what the hell the pattern's going to be. So, and whether Domingo Germán's going to be in long relief or he's going to make the postseason roster, he's actually been getting better. He's been more efficient every start he's done. I know he's unpopular with a lot of people, and I totally get it. But if he can act like a long relief guy with Clark Schmidt, and at the very least takes the pressure off some of the other guys, with Mike King being out. 2 long relief guys is much better than 1. We don't have J.P. Sears either, so got to figure that out. And if I don't know if Cashman makes another move for a pitcher or whatever, we have no idea. But you know, those are the main pieces to me that would help the Yankees kind of figure things out a little bit and put themselves back on good footing. You know, I still have faith in my team. I'm not throwing in the right flag at any point. And I know the New York media and the beat people, like, they ask questions to exhaustion. They'll ask you the same question 6,000 times. And hoping that you're going to have a different answer. So I get it. And the fact is, none of us have played in the major leagues. So I can't claim how easy it is for them to make this adjustment, or he should be able. If you haven't played in the major leagues, then what we say doesn't have much weight to major league players. It is not the easy thing. I went to a major league scouting combine a while back called the Bucky Dent Baseball School, and believe me, it is really hard. Facing like Mark Pryor, who was a former pitching prospect, he was throwing like 98 miles an hour to me. That was the first time I've ever seen 98 miles an hour, and it is effing fast. Okay, and he had movement. That's when he was at the top of it, right before he got drafted by the Cubs from USC. This shit's not easy. It's not easy. So I know as fans we're passionate, we're well informed and whatnot, but you got to keep in mind this is just not as easy as people think it is. So, but the Yankees have the talent, but I think people people at the top need to be a little bit more vocal and more supportive. Boone's been vocal and supportive, and I like what he said. Was it yesterday? Yelling at the ump. He told the ump, just because you keep calling it doesn't mean it's a strike, or doesn't make it a strike, which is true. It was a great line. You keep calling this ball, it doesn't all of a sudden become a strike because you said it 5 times. It's like telling a lie and expecting people to blink it. You tell it 100 times and expecting people to believe that it's true all of a sudden. It's also not reality. So I like that stuff. But, this is where we're at right now. I mean, the Yankees are reeling. They need to figure it out. They're playing Seattle next, and they're going to have a tough time with Seattle. And then they got the Mets coming up. We have a lot of tough teams coming up. So, Yankees we got to get these guys rolling. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling on. Give me your feedback, okay? I want to know what you think. If there's a couple things that they could do, to kind of figure things out. Yeah, and I am a fan of calling up Florial and calling up Peraza if it's going to help the team. But again, like I said yesterday, I'm not replacing a productive hustle player with someone who's not as productive but has more talent. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm replacing a lazy, unfocused player. That's why I say Gleyber Torres instead of IKF, and people still disagree with me. Like, Gleyber Torres is slugging. Doesn't matter what his slugging is. He did all that stuff in the beginning when the Yankees were winning, when everybody was doing well and winning. Now, where it's crunch time, he's not getting it done. He's not. We need the clutch hitting now. We need guys to collectively work together to figure out how to start beating teams again, how to start winning again. Okay? I don't see a lapse in energy from Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I see him focused, and again, he makes errors, sure, but he tries to make up for it. The next inning, every time I see him, he's running like crazy in the base paths. It's just that's what I see. That's the eyeball. And again, fancy metrics mean nothing. Absolutely not. Launch angle doesn't mean dick. Exit velocity, that only applies. Freaking bees. That only applies to, for mostly guys like Stanton and Judge, who hit the ball like 200 miles an hour. The other stuff, come on. You know what I mean? Let's get into this. And I'll obviously be up later for the lineup. Remember, we're on the West Coast right now, so the games are later. So you'll get the lineups this evening. But if anything else pops out, you're going to get it here. So talk to you guys later.